In the dark corridors of history, there are whispers of a secret brotherhood that claim to hold the key to the greatest mysteries of existence. They were called the Rosicrucians, the Order of the Rose and Cross. The first traces of their presence did not come from loud declarations or public gatherings, but from something far stranger. Around the year 1614, in the German town of Kassel, a small, anonymous pamphlet appeared. It spoke of an invisible fraternity, a circle of enlightened men who possessed ancient wisdom passed down through hidden channels since the dawn of civilization. The text declared that this brotherhood had been founded by a man known only as Christian Rosenkreuz, a mysterious figure who allegedly traveled through the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond, collecting the most powerful spiritual and scientific knowledge of his age. From the alchemists of Arabia to the mystics of Egypt to the scholars of Persia, Rosenkreuz gathered fragments of a truth that could change the world. But the strangest part was this. According to the writings, the Rosicrucians were still alive, scattered across Europe, working in absolute secrecy. They did not seek wealth or power, the pamphlet claimed, but instead devoted themselves to transforming humanity, guiding those worthy of initiation toward hidden enlightenment. At the time, Europe was drenched in religious conflict, superstition, and bloodshed. Yet here was a promise that there existed a secret society working in the shadows, not to dominate but to uplift. A brotherhood of sages who from behind a veil of secrecy might have been pulling the strings of history itself. Were they real, or was this all a hoax, a riddle designed to test the hearts of seekers and expose the greed of the powerful? The mystery of the Rosicrucians begins here, with a secret so carefully guarded that even now, over 400 years later, no one truly knows whether they existed as flesh and blood men or only as an idea, a myth, planted to awaken something hidden deep within the human spirit.
Not long after the first whispers of the Rosicrucians, something astonishing appeared. Between 1614 and 1617, three strange documents known as the Rosicrucian Manifestos were published across Europe. The first was the Fama Fraternitatis, the fame of the Brotherhood. It told the story of their legendary founder, Christian Rosenkreuz, who, according to the text, had been born in 1378 into poverty, but destined for greatness. As a young man, Rosenkreuz traveled far beyond Europe to the mystical schools of Arabia, the hidden temples of Egypt, and the secret academies of the East. Wherever he went, he gathered wisdom, medicine, alchemy, astronomy, and sacred knowledge said to be as old as humanity itself. When he finally returned to Europe, Rosenkreuz built a hidden temple called the House of the Holy Spirit. Here, and a small circle of initiates worked to purify society, heal the sick without reward, and quietly direct the world toward enlightenment. The second manifesto, the Confessio Fraternitatis, went further. It boldly declared that a new age was coming, a time of revelation when secret knowledge would reshape science, religion, and society. It hinted that the Rosicrucians already walked among the people, unseen, guiding events. And then came the third, the most mysterious of all, the chemical wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz. Written in the style of an allegorical tale, it described a strange 7-day journey filled with puzzles, transformations, and mystical symbols. Scholars have debated for centuries whether it was an initiation text, an alchemical code, or a vision of spiritual rebirth hidden in layers of metaphor. These manifestos spread like wildfire. Scholars, nobles, alchemists, and dreamers pored over the texts, desperate to uncover the secrets of this invisible brotherhood. But here lies the riddle. No one could find the Rosicrucians. There were no lodges, no leaders, no clear membership. Letters were written to the Brothers of the Rose Cross, but replies never came. Some said this proved the order was a hoax. Others believed the silence was intentional, that the Rosicrucians were real but invisible, testing humanity to see who was truly ready to receive the truth. For a Europe on the brink of the modern age, these mysterious writings were like a spark thrown into dry tinder. They awakened hope, fear, and obsession, and left behind one burning question. Were the Rosicrucians about to reveal themselves, or had they already shaped the world in ways no one could see?
The Rosicrucian Manifestos did more than tell a story. They promised something extraordinary, a hidden science, a wisdom that could heal the sick, reveal the mysteries of the universe, and even transform the soul itself. But what was this knowledge? The texts hinted at three great pillars of Rosicrucian learning. Alchemy, not simply the turning of lead into gold, as many believed, but the alchemy of the spirit. The Rosicrucians spoke of purifying the human soul, transmuting ignorance into wisdom, and discovering the philosopher's stone within. It was about achieving a higher state of being, not just material wealth. Medicine. They claimed to hold cures for diseases drawn from ancient wisdom lost to the world. In a Europe still ravaged by plague and illness, the idea of secret healing knowledge captured imaginations everywhere. Were these cures real or symbolic? No one could say. Sacred geometry and astronomy. The manifestos hinted that the universe itself was built upon hidden patterns, that the stars, numbers, and shapes held a code to creation. Some later Rosicrucian thinkers believed these patterns could unlock the mysteries of time, space, and even the divine. For the Rosicrucians, all knowledge was connected. Science, religion, art, and nature were threads of one great tapestry. To them, the separation between science and spirituality was an illusion. The universe was a single mystery waiting to be solved. But they also warned, this knowledge could not be given freely to everyone. Only those who were humble, pure of heart, and willing to serve humanity were worthy of it. Those driven by greed or pride would never find the truth. To outsiders, this secrecy was maddening. Imagine a Europe alive with rumors, secret cures for disease, codes hidden in architecture, whispers of immortality. Scholars argued in universities, alchemists searched for clues in their laboratories, and nobles secretly tried to contact the Brotherhood. Yet the Rosicrucians themselves remained silent, like shadows behind a curtain. Some claimed they were already pulling the strings of history, guiding kings and empires without ever being seen. Others believed they were not human at all, but guardians of ancient wisdom stretching back to Egypt, Atlantis, or even beyond the stars. And so the mystery deepened. What exactly did the Rosicrucians know, and why did they hide it from the world?
When the mysterious pamphlets first appeared across Europe, the Fama Fraternitatis in 1614, the Confessio in 1615, and the Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz in 1616, they spread like wildfire. Printers couldn't keep up with demand. Scholars, nobles, priests, and alchemists all rushed to obtain copies. Suddenly, Whispers of the Rosicrucian Brotherhood were everywhere. But what followed was chaos. Letters flooded universities. Men begged the Brotherhood to reveal themselves, offering their loyalty, their money, even their souls. Royal courts trembled. Rumors spread that kings were secretly controlled by Rosicrucian advisors. Some rulers feared that a hidden order might overthrow them with invisible power. The Catholic Church grew uneasy. At a time when Europe was already split by the Reformation, the idea of a secret society with its own spiritual knowledge sounded like heresy. And yet, no one could actually find the Rosicrucians. No lodges, no headquarters, no meetings. It was as if the Rosicrucians truly existed in shadows. This only made the mystery grow. Some believed the Rosicrucians had infiltrated universities, governments, and churches, disguising themselves as ordinary men while secretly guiding events. Others claimed they had mastered the art of invisibility, living alongside humanity but hidden from ordinary eyes. The strangest part was this: the Rosicrucians never denied it. They released no clarifications, no corrections. Silence became their weapon. And in that silence, Europe's imagination exploded. Were these men saints or sorcerers? Were they working for the salvation of mankind, or plotting in the dark to replace religion with their own hidden empire? In just a few short years, the Rosicrucian Manifestos created what historians now call the Rosicrucian Panic, a wave of obsession, paranoia, and fascination that swept across the continent. But behind this frenzy, a darker question lingered. If the Rosicrucians were real, what was their true purpose? Why reveal themselves at all?
At the heart of the Rosicrucian mystery lies a single name, Christian Rosenkreuz. According to the Manifestos, he was a man born in 1378, of noble blood, but left in poverty after his family's fall. As a young boy, he showed extraordinary intelligence and an insatiable hunger for knowledge. At just 16, he supposedly set out on a journey across the known world, a pilgrimage that would shape everything to come. He is said to have traveled first to the Middle East, where he studied with Arab scholars, absorbing the secrets of medicine, astronomy, and alchemy. From there, he ventured into Egypt, the land of pyramids and ancient gods, where priests and mystics taught him hidden wisdom passed down since the time of pharaohs. Then he crossed into Morocco and Spain, learning from Jewish Kabbalists and Christian mystics, weaving together fragments of different traditions into a unified vision of truth. After many years abroad, Rosenkreuz returned to Europe, carrying this secret knowledge. But he was met not with acceptance, but with rejection. Priests and scholars mocked him. Kings refused to listen. His ideas, blending science, spirituality, and magic, were too dangerous, too revolutionary for the rigid world of medieval Europe. So Rosenkreuz withdrew. He gathered a small circle of like-minded seekers, and together they formed the Fraternity of the Rose Cross. Their mission was not to conquer, but to quietly guide humanity toward enlightenment, preserving their knowledge until the world was ready. The Manifestos describe his final years in almost mythical terms. Rosenkreuz supposedly lived to be more than 100 years old, finally dying in 1484. His body was placed in a secret tomb hidden deep within the earth, and here the mystery deepens. The story claims that in 1604, long after his death, members of the Brotherhood discovered his sealed burial chamber. Inside, Rosenkreuz's body was perfectly preserved, as if untouched by time. Around him were books filled with secret wisdom, strange scientific instruments, and symbols pointing to the deepest mysteries of creation. Was this simply an allegory? A symbolic story meant to inspire seekers?
Or could it be that Rosenkreuz truly existed, and that his hidden tomb lies somewhere, still waiting to be uncovered? Historians today debate whether Rosenkreuz was a real man or a fictional figure invented by the authors of the manifestos. But for the Rosicrucians themselves, it hardly mattered. To them, Rosenkreuz was more than a man. He was an ideal, a symbol of the eternal seeker who journeys into the unknown and returns with the light of hidden truth. And so the legend of Christian Rosenkreuz became the beating heart of Rosicrucian lore. A man both real and unreal, flesh and myth, whose footsteps echo through centuries of secrecy.
Every secret society has its symbols, but few are as haunting or as layered in meaning as those of the Rosicrucians. Their very name, Rosicrucian, hides a mystery that has fascinated seekers for centuries. At its core is the image of a rose blossoming upon a cross. On the surface, it seems simple, yet its meanings unfold like petals, each one revealing a deeper secret. The cross represents the material world, the human body, and the suffering of earthly life. It is the burden of existence, the intersection of spirit and matter. The rose is the soul itself, beauty, purity, and divine wisdom blooming from within. Some saw the rose as a symbol of secret knowledge, hidden until it is ready to open. Others believed it represented transformation, the unfolding of spiritual enlightenment. Together, the rose and the cross form a profound image, the awakening of the soul within the suffering of the material world, enlightenment blooming from struggle. But the Rosicrucians went further. Some of their writings describe the rose as having 7 petals, echoing the 7 planets of ancient astrology, the 7 stages of alchemy, the 7 steps of spiritual transformation. To the initiated, this symbol wasn't just an emblem, it was a map of the universe itself. And hidden in these symbols were other connections. The rose had long been associated with secrecy. In ancient Rome, a rose carved above a meeting place meant everything spoken there was sub rosa, under the rose, never to be revealed. The cross, meanwhile, had meanings that reached far beyond Christianity, stretching back to Egypt, Babylon, and even older mysteries. The combination of the two was no accident. It was a signal. The Rosicrucians were heirs to an ancient, universal wisdom, one that belonged to no single religion, but encompassed them all. For those outside the Brotherhood, these symbols became an obsession. Were they simply allegories or codes pointing to deeper truths? Were the Rosicrucians hiding astronomical knowledge, alchemical formulas, or perhaps even a direct key to immortality? The true meaning of the rose and cross remains a riddle, whispered through history, but never fully explained. And perhaps that was the point. A symbol is most powerful not when it is explained, but when it plants a seed of wonder in the mind, a seed that grows into a lifelong quest.
The Rosicrucian Manifestos didn't just stir curiosity, they set fire to the imaginations of Europe's greatest minds. To some, the Brotherhood represented a secret society of sages who held the key to knowledge that could transform the world. And in many ways, they did. The 1600s were a time of immense change. Old systems of belief were breaking down, and new ways of thinking, what we now call modern science, were beginning to emerge. And at the very heart of this transformation, the Rosicrucian influence was everywhere. Many of Europe's brightest scholars began to align themselves with Rosicrucian ideals. Robert Boyle, often called the father of modern chemistry, openly admired Rosicrucian ideas. His fascination with alchemy, transmutation, and hidden laws of nature echoed their teachings. Johannes Kepler, the great astronomer, was suspected of Rosicrucian sympathies. His studies of sacred geometry and the harmony of the planets sounded strikingly similar to the Brotherhood's cosmic vision. And even Isaac Newton, though never proven to be a Rosicrucian, spent vast amounts of time studying alchemy, biblical prophecy, and mystical knowledge alongside his scientific work. Some whisper that his greatest discoveries were inspired by texts hidden from ordinary scholars. But why were the Rosicrucians so appealing to men of science? Because they offered something radical, the idea that the pursuit of knowledge was not blasphemy, but sacred. To study the stars, to unlock the mysteries of matter, to heal the sick, this was not rebellion against God, but an act of devotion. The Brotherhood's vision blurred the line between spirituality and science. They believed that by decoding the laws of nature, humanity could step closer to the divine. For them, science was not cold or mechanical, it was a living mystery, infused with sacred purpose. And yet there was a paradox. The Rosicrucians spoke of hidden cures, of secrets that could heal humanity, but they never revealed them openly. Instead, their influence spread through whispers, symbols, and ideas that inspired generations of thinkers. In this way, the Rosicrucians helped shape the birth of modern science, not by publishing experiments in plain view, but by seeding the imagination of those who would go on to transform the world. But their secrecy also raised suspicion. Were they truly guiding humanity toward enlightenment, or were they hiding knowledge for themselves? To the outside world, the Rosicrucians were rumored to possess the ultimate secrets of alchemy. But what did that really mean? In the public imagination, alchemy was about turning lead into gold, the dream of endless wealth. But the Rosicrucians hinted that this was only a surface-level understanding. Their version of alchemy was far deeper, far more mysterious. They spoke of a spiritual transmutation. Lead symbolized the base nature of humanity, ignorance, selfishness, material obsession. Gold represented the purified soul, enlightened and united with the divine. The real philosopher's stone, they said, was not a rock or a powder, but a transformation of the self. Still, rumors persisted that they had uncovered secrets of physical alchemy as well. Some claimed the Rosicrucians possessed formulas for the elixir of life, a potion that could extend life or even grant immortality; universal medicine, a cure for all diseases hidden in their secret laboratories; true gold, the ability to transmute metals, not for greed, but as proof of mastery over nature's hidden laws. What made these claims so powerful was the silence of the Rosicrucians themselves. They neither confirmed nor denied such powers, and in that silence, legends grew. Many alchemists in Europe began calling themselves Rosicrucians, hoping to borrow the aura of mystery. Secret laboratories appeared in basements, filled with bubbling glass, coded manuscripts, and symbols scratched into the walls. Princes and nobles spent fortunes funding these experiments, dreaming of eternal youth and limitless treasure. But to the true seekers, Rosicrucian alchemy was not about riches, it was about unlocking the inner temple of the soul. They believed that nature itself was alive with divine energy, and by working in harmony with its hidden forces, man could ascend to a higher state of existence. This blending of science, spirituality, and magic was intoxicating and dangerous. For the Church, such practices bordered on heresy. For kings, it was threatening. Knowledge is power, and power hidden is power feared. And so, the Rosicrucians remained in shadows, their laboratories hidden, their manuscripts encrypted. Were they quacks, mystics, scientists, or magicians? No one knew for certain, but the whispers of their secret experiments haunted Europe like ghostly flames flickering in the dark. The strangest thing about the Rosicrucians is not just what they claimed, but how they chose to exist. Or rather, how they chose not to exist. Unlike other secret societies, they left behind no official membership lists, no meeting halls, no public leaders. Their manifestos spoke of a hidden brotherhood, but when curious scholars and nobles went searching for them, they found only silence. This secrecy was intentional. The Rosicrucians declared that they would remain invisible to the unworthy. Only those who had purified themselves, morally, intellectually, and spiritually, could ever hope to find them. To the rest, the Brotherhood might as well not exist at all. But this secrecy raised disturbing questions. Were the Rosicrucians a real order at all, or merely an idea planted to stir a revolution of thought? Did individuals claim to be Rosicrucians without any real authority, creating an illusion that spread across Europe? Or was the true Brotherhood so powerful, so hidden, that it guided events silently from the shadows? This paradox, a society both everywhere and nowhere, fascinated the 17th century. Pamphlets circulated with strange symbols and hidden codes, claiming to reveal Rosicrucian secrets. Some men swore they had been contacted by the Brotherhood through cryptic letters, while others believed the Rosicrucians could vanish in an instant, leaving no trace of their meetings. Even stranger, there were rumors of mystical signs that proved their presence. Glowing lights seen in forests at midnight, ghostly figures robed in white, and alchemical laboratories that appeared abandoned but were warm to the touch as if used only moments before. Their secrecy was their power. It turned them into a myth, a legend that could never be disproven. And in that vacuum of certainty, fear and fascination grew. To the faithful, the Rosicrucians were guiding humanity toward enlightenment. To their enemies, they were conspirators plotting in darkness. And somewhere between truth and legend, the Rosicrucians thrived, invisible, untouchable, eternal.
Though the Rosicrucians remained elusive, their ideas spread like wildfire. By the mid-1600s, whispers of their philosophies had seeped into salons, universities, and courts. But what's more intriguing is how their hidden influence shaped the birth of other secret societies. The Freemasons, who would rise in power during the 17th and 18th centuries, absorbed many of the same symbols, mystical allegories, and ideals of transformation found in Rosicrucian writings. Some even believe that Rosicrucians were the blueprint for modern Freemasonry, a prototype that combined secrecy with sacred knowledge. Later, in the 18th century, groups like the Illuminati drew heavily from Rosicrucian thought. Ideas of enlightenment, the pursuit of hidden truths, and the belief in an invisible brotherhood guiding humanity toward a higher purpose were all central to their vision. But it wasn't only Europe. Some researchers suggest Rosicrucian ideas traveled across the Atlantic, influencing the early colonies of America. The Founding Fathers, many of whom were Freemasons, embraced symbols of transformation, hidden wisdom, and the vision of a new world order, echoes, perhaps, of Rosicrucian thought. The question remains, were the Rosicrucians truly behind these movements? Or did later societies simply adopt the myth of Rosicrucianism to give themselves an air of ancient legitimacy? Either way, the Brotherhood's fingerprints are everywhere, woven into the architecture of Masonic lodges, hidden in the symbols of the dollar bill, and whispered in the halls of power. What began as mysterious manifestos in Germany seemed to spark a chain reaction that reshaped secret societies for centuries to come.
Behind the polished words of their manifestos, rumors persisted of the secret rituals the Rosicrucians practiced. These weren't ordinary prayers or simple gatherings.
They were said to be ceremonies designed to unlock hidden powers of the human soul. Some claimed their rituals involved alchemy, not just as a way to transform metals, but to transform the self, to purify the spirit until it reflected divine light. Symbols of the rose and the cross were placed at the center of their ceremonies, representing the union of the material world with higher spiritual truth. There were whispers of initiates being guided through darkened chambers, tested with riddles and visions before being allowed to glimpse the inner teachings of the Brotherhood. Candles, ancient symbols, and coded language created an atmosphere where every step felt like a passage from ignorance to enlightenment. Others believed they practiced a form of astral travel, leaving the physical body to explore hidden realms of existence. According to these stories, the Rosicrucians could access realms of pure knowledge and return with secrets that no ordinary man could ever hope to learn. But the most chilling claim, some whispered that rituals took place around the preserved body of Christian Rosenkreuz himself, the legendary founder. His tomb, said to be a chamber filled with mystical objects and secrets, was believed to radiate a strange, otherworldly power. Were these tales exaggerations spread by their enemies, or glimpses of truth leaked by former initiates? No one knows. What is certain is that the aura of mystery surrounding their rituals made the Rosicrucians seem less like a brotherhood and more like keepers of an ancient magic.
One of the most enduring and mysterious stories tied to the Rosicrucians is the discovery of Christian Rosenkreuz's tomb. According to the manifestos, this event occurred more than a century after his death, a secret carefully guarded by the Brotherhood. The tomb was said to be hidden within the earth, seven-sided and filled with wonders. Each wall bore cryptic inscriptions, mysterious symbols, and diagrams of cosmic knowledge. At the center lay a perfectly preserved body of Rosenkreuz himself, untouched by time, as though death had not claimed him. Surrounding him were treasures of a different kind, not gold or jewels, but ancient manuscripts, sacred texts, and tools of alchemy. These writings supposedly contained the full teachings of the order: how to cure disease, how to understand the hidden forces of nature, and perhaps even the key to eternal life. Legends claim that the tomb radiated a strange energy. The candles placed within it burned without ever fading, illuminating the chamber with an eternal glow. Some claimed it was a metaphor. Others whispered it was literal, a hidden technology or divine power beyond explanation. The discovery of the tomb was not only a physical unearthing, but also symbolic, a message that the time had come to reveal hidden wisdom to humanity. But skeptics argue, did this tomb ever truly exist? Or was it a grand allegory meant to inspire seekers of truth? Even today, no one has ever proven its location. Was it buried deep in Europe, sealed beneath a monastery, or perhaps destroyed long ago to keep its secrets hidden? The mystery of the tomb lingers, a perfect blend of legend and possibility.
The Rosicrucians were not just philosophers, they were said to be masters of alchemy. But unlike the popular image of alchemists endlessly trying to turn lead into gold, their goals were far more profound. They sought spiritual transmutation, the transformation of the soul itself. To them, the philosopher's stone was not merely a physical object, but a symbol of enlightenment, the ultimate key to immortality. According to hidden manuscripts,
The Rosicrucians believed that true alchemy was threefold: physical, understanding the secrets of nature, medicines and cures for disease; mental, expanding the power of thought, unlocking the creative force of the mind; spiritual, purifying the soul, achieving harmony with the divine. Legends claim that some Rosicrucian masters lived far beyond the normal human lifespan, appearing in historical records centuries apart, always unchanged. Was this coincidence, myth, or the result of their secret practices? Whispers tell of hidden formulas, a universal medicine that could heal any illness and extend life indefinitely. Some even suggested they had access to energies modern science still cannot explain, frequencies of light and sound that could regenerate the body and expand consciousness. And yet, the Rosicrucians were careful. They warned that alchemy, in the wrong hands, could bring disaster. Only those who had purified their hearts and intentions could wield such knowledge. For the Brotherhood, immortality was not about endlessly prolonging the body. It was about achieving a state where the soul would no longer be bound by death, becoming eternal in wisdom and light. But still, the question lingers: did the Rosicrucians truly uncover the secret of eternal life? Or was it only a metaphor for spiritual awakening?
The Rosicrucians claimed to possess a hidden science of healing that surpassed anything known in their time. They spoke of a universal medicine, a cure for all diseases, a formula capable of restoring balance to body, mind, and spirit. This elixir was said to be derived not only from plants and minerals, but also from the forces of nature itself: light, magnetism, sound, and energy fields invisible to the naked eye. Some manuscripts suggest they understood the human body as a microcosm of the universe, a perfect reflection of the stars above. By aligning the body with cosmic rhythms, they believed illness could be prevented entirely. Their medicine was not about treating symptoms, but restoring harmony between the human being and the cosmos. Legends tell of Rosicrucian healers who could cure fevers with vibrations, mend wounds with herbs no longer known today, and even reverse the effects of aging. Some whispered that they had mastered the art of astral surgery, working on the energetic double of a person to heal the physical body. To the outside world, these claims sounded like fantasy. Yet centuries later, modern science would begin to rediscover some of these principles: bioelectricity, sound therapy, and the healing power of frequency. Did the Rosicrucians truly hold the key to perfect health and longevity? Or did they only hint at truths that science is just now beginning to understand? The Rosicrucians often spoke of secret libraries hidden deep within monasteries, castles, and even underground chambers. These were not ordinary collections of books. They were said to contain forbidden manuscripts, ancient scrolls, and lost texts from civilizations long vanished. According to legend, the Rosicrucians preserved fragments of the Library of Alexandria, guarded knowledge from the Templars, and texts passed down from ancient Egypt and Babylon. Some even claim they safeguarded Atlantean wisdom, writings on astronomy, alchemy, and the powers of the human mind. What made these libraries unique was not just their content, but their secrecy. Access was granted only to initiates who had proven themselves trustworthy. To protect their treasures, Rosicrucians encoded their writings in symbols, ciphers, and allegories. To the untrained eye, a page might look like poetry or nonsense, but to the initiate, it revealed entire worlds of hidden meaning. One recurring symbol found in these texts is the rose upon the cross, Some say it represents the blossoming of enlightenment upon the suffering of matter. Others believe it is a coded diagram of the human body and soul, pointing to techniques of spiritual transformation. But perhaps the greatest mystery of these hidden libraries is this: do they still exist? Are they locked away in secret vaults beneath old European cities, in Vatican basements, or even in private collections of powerful families who inherited Rosicrucian knowledge? If these libraries were ever open to the world, what truths would humanity finally uncover?
The Rosicrucians rarely spoke openly. Instead, they hid their knowledge in places where only the attentive would notice: art, music, and literature. During the 1600s and 1700s, Europe saw an explosion of creativity. Composers, painters, and poets began weaving mysterious symbols into their works. Some believe these artists were either Rosicrucians themselves or inspired by the Brotherhoods' teachings. For example, certain Baroque compositions are thought to contain musical ratios linked to cosmic harmonies. To the casual listener, they were simply beautiful melodies, but to initiates, they encoded mathematical secrets of the universe. Painters, too, played their part. Hidden roses, crosses, and alchemical symbols appeared in religious and mythological artworks. These were more than decoration. They were clues, left like breadcrumbs, pointing to deeper truths. Even literature carried the Rosicrucian mark. Some scholars argue that Shakespeare's plays, Francis Bacon's essays, and later works of Goethe contained hidden Rosicrucian allegories. Ideas of hidden masters, secret brotherhoods, and spiritual rebirth ran through their pages like a secret current. Why hide wisdom in art? Because art lasts. It survives censorship, war, and time itself. While empires crumble, paintings hang, books endure, and music echoes through the centuries. Through these mediums, the Rosicrucians ensured their knowledge could reach future generations without ever revealing their hand. The question remains: how much of the art we admire today is actually a Rosicrucian message in disguise?
As whispers of the Rosicrucians spread across Europe, another powerful secret brotherhood began to rise: the Freemasons. Many historians believe the two groups were deeply connected, perhaps even branches of the same hidden tradition. In the early 1700s, Masonic lodges began to incorporate Rosicrucian symbols into their rituals: the rose, the cross, the all-seeing eye, and references to alchemy. Some Masonic degrees, especially the higher ones, contain teachings almost identical to those attributed to the Rosicrucians. But how close were they, really? Some theories suggest the Rosicrucians infiltrated the Freemasons, using them as a more public cover for their secret work. Others claim the two societies shared common roots in medieval alchemy, Hermeticism, and mystical Christianity. Even today, certain Masonic rites openly reference the Rosicrucians. In fact, there exists a branch of Freemasonry called the Societas Rosicruciana in Anglia, founded in the 1800s, which openly claims lineage to the Rosicrucian tradition. To the outside world, Freemasonry was about fraternity, morality, and architecture. But behind closed doors, whispers say, it was also a vessel for Rosicrucian wisdom, the hidden engine driving Western esoteric thought for centuries. So we must ask, were the Rosicrucians the secret architects behind Freemasonry itself? Or did they simply leave their mark on an already powerful movement?
The Rosicrucians claimed to be above politics, yet their fingerprints appear in some of the most turbulent events in history. From the English Civil War to the French Revolution, whispers of hidden brotherhoods influencing the course of nations never disappeared.
The Rosicrucian Manifestos spoke of a new age of enlightenment, where tyranny and ignorance would be swept away and a wiser humanity would rise. Many revolutionaries of the 17th and 18th centuries echoed the very same words. Coincidence or influence? In France, philosophers like Voltaire and Diderot were rumored to have connections to Rosicrucian circles. Their radical ideas of liberty, equality, and reason mirrored the Rosicrucian dream of a transformed world. Even in America, some claim that figures like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson were exposed to Rosicrucian thought through their ties to European societies. Of course, the Rosicrucians never appeared openly on the stage of history. They moved like shadows, guiding minds, planting seeds of change, and letting others carry the torch into the public eye. Were they simply dreamers, whispering ideals into the ears of the powerful? Or were they the hidden architects of revolutions, working to dismantle the old world order and shape a new one? If the Rosicrucians truly influenced revolutions, then their reach was far greater than we imagine, not just across Europe, but into the very foundations of the modern world.
To the outside world, the Rosicrucians were a rumor, but within their hidden circles, legends say initiates underwent mystical rites of transformation, rituals designed to awaken the soul and align it with the divine order of the cosmos. An initiation was not just a ceremony, it was a rebirth. Candidates were said to pass through trials symbolizing death and resurrection. Some accounts describe a ritual chamber where the initiate would spend a night alone, surrounded by symbols of mortality, skulls, coffins, and the sacred rose. At dawn, they would emerge transformed, symbolically reborn into a higher state of consciousness. The teachings revealed in these initiations were wrapped in allegories. Alchemy, for instance, was not merely about turning lead into gold, but about refining the human soul into something eternal and luminous. Astrology was not about predicting fortunes, but about understanding humanity's place in the great cosmic design. Whispers tell of deeper mysteries, secret formulas for spiritual vision, chants that could awaken hidden powers of the mind, and even exercises that allowed initiates to leave their bodies and travel through the astral realms. Of course, no one outside the Brotherhood could ever confirm such things. But if true, these initiations were not just rituals, they were gateways into worlds unseen, shaping the Rosicrucians into guardians of knowledge ordinary men and women could not imagine.
The Rosicrucians stepped into history like a phantom, appearing suddenly in the 1600s, leaving behind mysterious writings and then vanishing back into the shadows. Yet their influence never disappeared. Their ideas of hidden knowledge, the unity of science and spirit, and the rebirth of humanity spread into alchemy, Freemasonry, secret societies, philosophy, and even science itself. Some credit them with sparking the Age of Enlightenment. Others believe their quiet hand still guides the world today. Modern Rosicrucian groups exist across the globe. They claim to carry the same wisdom once revealed in the old manifestos, offering teachings in mysticism, meditation, and the secrets of nature. But are these true heirs of the original Brotherhood, or only modern interpretations of a legend? The deeper question is this: did the Rosicrucians ever truly disappear? Perhaps they never left. Perhaps their members continued to move silently through the centuries. Scientists, artists, politicians, and visionaries working to shape humanity's destiny from behind the curtain of history. And maybe, even now, their symbols surround us, in architecture, in music, in literature, waiting for those with eyes to see. The Order of the Rose and Cross remains one of history's greatest enigmas. Real or imagined, its message endures, that hidden within the world lies a truth so profound it has the power to transform not just individuals, but the whole of humanity. The mystery of the Rosicrucians is not a closed chapter. It is a living question. And perhaps the answer is closer than we think.
Throughout history, secret societies have thrived on mystery, and the Rosicrucians were no exception. Beyond their manifestos, they were known for their mastery of hidden writing and complex ciphers. Some claim that even their most famous texts were not meant to be read literally, but to be decoded by those who had the right knowledge. Invisible inks, elaborate number patterns, and geometric symbols were said to conceal wisdom that only the initiated could unlock. In fact, researchers have discovered strange acrostics and hidden diagrams in early Rosicrucian publications that don't seem to fit with the rest of the text. Were these simply artistic flourishes, or were they messages left behind for future seekers? Even more intriguing are the whispers of unbroken codes, messages still hidden in Renaissance manuscripts, waiting for someone with the right key to reveal them. If true, this means the Rosicrucians may still be speaking to us today, across centuries, through puzzles that remain unsolved. Some historians argue that this wasn't just for secrecy. By forcing readers to engage with hidden codes, the Rosicrucians were teaching a lesson. Truth is not found on the surface, but only by those willing to dig deeper.
One of the most fascinating legacies tied to the Rosicrucians is the idea of the invisible college. This wasn't a physical building, nor an official institution, but rather a hidden network of thinkers, philosophers, scientists, and mystics spread across Europe. The Rosicrucian Manifestos hinted at this brotherhood of enlightened minds, working quietly behind the scenes to guide humanity toward a brighter future. Some believe the Invisible College later influenced the birth of the Royal Society in England, the cornerstone of modern science. But others suggest something far more mysterious, that the Invisible College still exists today, not as a society one can apply to join, but as a spiritual order, recognizing its members by their inner qualities rather than by outward signs. According to legend, members are scattered throughout the world, often disguised as ordinary people, yet secretly influencing the course of history, science, and even politics. This notion leaves us with an unsettling thought. Could the Rosicrucian Invisible College still be watching, guiding, and perhaps even shaping the destiny of the modern world, hidden in plain sight?
Alchemy is often remembered only as the pursuit of turning lead into gold. But for the Rosicrucians, it meant something far deeper. Their texts described spiritual alchemy, the transformation of the human soul from base material existence into something radiant, immortal, and divine. They taught that true gold was not found in the crucible, but in the purified heart and enlightened mind. Yet, hidden within their symbolism, many believe the Rosicrucians also preserved practical alchemical secrets, recipes for elixirs of healing, methods of prolonging life, and even ways to harness subtle energies of nature unknown to modern science. Some whispers claim that Rosicrucian adepts succeeded in creating the legendary Philosopher's Stone, but not as a mere object. Instead, they described it as a state of being, a perfected consciousness that allowed mastery over both matter and spirit. This mysterious union of mystical philosophy and practical alchemy remains one of the most compelling and secretive aspects of the Rosicrucian tradition.
The Rosicrucians were masters of symbols. To the untrained eye, their writing seemed filled with strange diagrams, roses blooming from crosses, suns shining within circles, and cryptic Latin mottos. But to the initiated, every image held layers of meaning. The rose, for instance, represented both beauty and secrecy, blossoming wisdom,
hidden behind thorns of mystery. The cross was not just Christian, but a symbol of the union of spirit and matter, the eternal and the mortal. Together, the rose and cross revealed the path to inner awakening. Their books often used allegories and puzzles, a kind of spiritual code. One might find diagrams of geometric shapes that secretly concealed astrological alignments, planetary forces, or even maps to hidden knowledge. Entire passages were written in cipher, meant only for those prepared to unlock them. Many researchers believe that the Rosicrucians encoded messages in paintings, architecture, and even music, hiding their wisdom in plain sight. To this day, scholars still debate whether some of the world's most famous artworks, including cathedral windows and Renaissance masterpieces, carry Rosicrucian signatures visible only to those who know how to look.
Throughout history, whispers spread that the Rosicrucians were not isolated seekers, but part of a vast network of hidden brotherhoods. Their connections seemed to stretch into Freemasonry, alchemy circles, and mystical Christian sects. Some even claim they were the invisible architects behind the great esoteric traditions of Europe. In Masonic lodges, the rose and cross sometimes appeared carved into stone or etched into manuscripts, suggesting that Rosicrucian philosophy seeped into the Masonic worldview. Alchemists, too, often spoke of the invisible college, a community of wise men sharing secrets across borders, a concept eerily similar to Rosicrucian ideals. It is said that the Rosicrucians believed in guiding humanity from the shadows, inspiring great thinkers, scientists, and artists without ever revealing their own presence. This hidden hand has led to speculation that their influence shaped everything from the Enlightenment to the birth of modern science. But the greatest mystery remains. Did these alliances actually exist, or were they deliberately crafted myths to give the Rosicrucians an aura of power? Some historians suggest that the Rosicrucians themselves fueled these legends, weaving them into the tapestry of secret history.
The Rosicrucians were not only seekers of hidden spiritual truths, but also champions of science in its earliest, most fragile days. Their manifestos hinted at a vision of a universal reformation, where knowledge, both mystical and empirical, would be merged to elevate humanity. Many believe their writings inspired thinkers like Francis Bacon, often associated with the Rosicrucians, who laid the groundwork for the scientific method. In fact, Bacon's utopian work, The New Atlantis, speaks of a hidden society devoted to research, discovery, and the preservation of wisdom, a vision strikingly similar to Rosicrucian ideals. From astronomy to medicine, their rumored networks may have spread new ideas across Europe, cloaked in secrecy, but driving innovation. Some even claim early Rosicrucians influenced discoveries in chemistry and anatomy, encouraging scholars to look beyond church dogma and explore the natural world without fear. This blending of mysticism with science was dangerous, yet it forged the path for the Enlightenment. Could it be that the Rosicrucians were the invisible sparks that ignited the Age of Reason, long before history gave credit to the names we know today?
Among the most tantalizing legends tied to the Rosicrucians is their rumored pursuit of immortality. Their texts spoke in veiled language about the Philosopher's Stone, not just as a means of turning lead into gold, but as a key to eternal life. Whispers spread across Europe that certain members of the Brotherhood had already unlocked the secret. One figure, known only as the Immortal Adept, was said to appear across centuries, unchanged in appearance, guiding seekers with cryptic advice before vanishing once more. Alchemists and mystics believed the Rosicrucians had inherited lost knowledge from ancient Egypt, blending it with Hermetic wisdom and Christian mysticism. Some claimed their initiates drank from the symbolic elixir of life, crafted from rare elements and spiritual purification. Stranger still are modern stories of encounters with timeless individuals who speak of forgotten sciences and secret orders, fueling speculation that the Rosicrucians succeeded in ways the world could never imagine. Were the Rosicrucians merely dreamers chasing metaphors, or did they truly discover a path to cheat time itself?
The Rosicrucians mastered the art of concealment. To the untrained eye, a church window, a painting, or even the facade of a building might appear ordinary. But to initiates, these works contain secret messages coded in geometry, numerology, and symbolism. The rose and the cross were their most recognized emblems, but their influence stretched further. In Gothic cathedrals, spiraling labyrinths, and stained glass patterns, researchers claim to see Rosicrucian codes, maps pointing to spiritual truths or hidden knowledge. Paintings from the Renaissance, such as those of Hieronymus Bosch or Albrecht Dürer, contain strange details that some historians interpret as veiled Rosicrucian signatures. Certain compositions were said to hold entire initiation rituals hidden in plain sight. Even city layouts have been scrutinized. Scholars suggest that parts of Paris and Prague were designed with sacred geometry linked to Rosicrucian ideals, turning cities themselves into vast esoteric manuscripts. The question remains, were these codes intentional transmissions of secret wisdom, or are we merely projecting mysteries onto the past? Either way, the symbols endure, quiet reminders of a hidden order guiding history from the shadows.
Many historians and conspiracy researchers argue that the Rosicrucians did not exist in isolation. Instead, they acted as the seed from which later secret brotherhoods would grow. The Freemasons, for instance, share striking similarities in symbols, rituals, and philosophies. Both movements emphasize moral transformation, the search for hidden wisdom, and the use of sacred geometry. Some claim the early Rosicrucians quietly merged into Masonic lodges, ensuring their teachings lived on under a different name. Even more intriguing are whispers of ties to the Illuminati. Adam Weishaupt's Bavarian order, founded in 1776, appears centuries after the Rosicrucian Manifestos. Some researchers believe the Illuminati borrowed heavily from Rosicrucian ideas, using them as blueprints for a new agenda of enlightenment, secrecy, and influence over global events. There are also connections suggested with the Knights Templar, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and even modern occultist movements. Each seems to carry fragments of Rosicrucian philosophy, hidden masters, secret wisdom, and the belief in guiding humanity to a higher destiny. But the greatest mystery is whether the Rosicrucians intentionally spread their knowledge into these societies, or if those groups merely imitated the mystique of an older, more elusive brotherhood.
Throughout history, scholars and seekers have searched for authentic Rosicrucian writings, yet many have simply vanished. After the publication of the first manifestos in the early 1600s, rumors spread of entire libraries of Rosicrucian manuscripts hidden deep in monasteries, private collections, and even royal courts. Some claimed that these writings contained alchemical recipes for creating gold, healing plagues, or extending life itself. Others believed the texts mapped secret knowledge of the cosmos, perhaps even pointing towards civilizations beyond Earth. Yet, whenever investigators tried to follow the trail, the documents either went missing, were locked away by powerful elites, or were declared forgeries. One of the strangest stories involves the disappearance of a supposed Rosicrucian book in Prague during the reign of Emperor Rudolf II, a known patron of alchemy and the occult. According to legend, the book was stolen during the chaos of war and has never resurfaced. Some whisper that it now lies in a hidden archive of the Vatican alongside countless other forbidden texts. The vanishing of these manuscripts raises a haunting question. Were the Rosicrucians deliberately erasing their own tracks to remain hidden, or were their most powerful secrets taken and silenced by those who feared what humanity might discover?